Recording 2022 in America. Right now, we have 36 governors' mansions up for election this year. The current map is 28-22. As recently as 2021, with the Republicans flipping the state of Virginia. In 2020, the Republicans also flipped the state of Montana with the retirement of Steve Bullock. In 2018, the Democrats had a good year, flipping the governorships in Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, New Mexico, Kansas, and Maine, I believe. Meanwhile, the Republicans also suffered losses in 2019 with their loss in the Kentucky governor's race. Now, there are many states that are competitive. These are the races that we project that is mostly confirmed to be under 5% either party. Those states are Oregon, Nevada, Arizona, Kansas, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Iowa, New Mexico. These are key races that could determine partisan control. Basically, these are 15 of the races that will decide the composition of the governor's mansions. Anyway, let's get started. Let's take a look at IEF old election prediction. If you take a look at the old governor's prediction, the end result was 27
Louisiana and Mississippi,
with Democrats flipping the states of Maryland and Massachusetts, Arizona, while Republicans flip the states of Kansas and Wisconsin. Democrats hold on to Nevada, while Republicans hold on to Ohio, Iowa. Democrats hold on to Michigan, Pennsylvania. So let's see how that changes on election night. Now, are the poll closings. This shade of red is to represent states that are leading or leads. And then this category is for Democratic leads. These are states that have not been held yet, but are, as votes come in, the vote total will fluctuate. So anyway, let's start with the poll closings. Georgia, South Carolina, and Vermont. We can make a first projection of the night. Vermont goes to the Republicans. Bill Scott, the very liberal Republican governor, is very popular in the state. New Hampshire and Vermont are the two states that elect their governors every 2 years. So Vermont stays Republican. Now, in South Carolina, Democrats are leading the early vote. These are votes coming from Charlotte and Columbia, I think. And then Republicans are getting votes in. The Republicans have quite the lead in Georgia, but a lot of these votes are coming from northern counties. Let's get on to the 7:30 poll closings. And before that, we can actually call one more state of South Carolina. This state was in somewhat contention. Joe Cunningham was running against Henry McMaster. No Republican has reached over 15 in quite a while, actually. Even in 2010 and 2014, Nikki Haley was just short of that margin. But now we can now project Henry McMaster wins a second term. And we can start with 7:30 poll closing, where off the bat we can characterize the one only state of Ohio. Democrats thought this could be in a contention for a while. There were talks about Mike DeWine getting primaried out, but that did not happen. And now Mike DeWine cruises to victory by over 15. Now let's go to the 8 o'clock poll closings, and before that we can actually now make another call. Georgia, the Republicans win in Georgia. Stacey Abrams versus Brian Kemp rematch did not go as well for Stacey Abrams as it did last time, so we can now safely project Brian Kemp wins the election by over 5. And now let's go on to the 8 p.m. poll closings. Alabama, Connecticut, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and Tennessee. 10 states are closing their polls tonight at signing thing at 8 o'clock. See, let's start with the Republicans. Alabama. We can call Alabama for the Republicans. Connecticut, Illinois, Maryland. We both call Maryland and Massachusetts. Larry Hogan and Charlie Baker were the Republican incumbents. Charlie Baker decided not to run, and Larry Hogan was terminated. And now let's go on. New Hampshire, we can now call for the Republicans. Like Vermont, Chris Sununu, very popular governor in the state, decided not to run for Senate, so that makes it not competitive. In Tennessee, these are all the states we can now characterize for the Republicans. In Oklahoma, the Republicans are leading, not by that much, but these are votes coming from Oklahoma City and Tulsa. So considering Republicans are barely leading with those 2 counties and a few other rural counties near, is not the best look for the Republicans. And Pennsylvania, the Republicans are winning in Pennsylvania by about 10 points. This is mostly votes coming from rural in-person voting. And now Rhode Island, the Democrats are leading, and Maine, the Republicans are leading in Maine. Narrowly, but nonetheless. Now let's go to the 8:30 poll closing, but before that we can actually make some poll projections. We will actually be taking Connecticut out of the safe column and putting it into likely, our first actual projection before the 8:30 poll closings. And we can also call the state of Oklahoma for the Republicans. Joy Hoffmeister versus Kevin Stitt. Hoffmeister was the phenomenal candidate for the Democrats, but not enough to flip the state to blue. Rhode Island, Dan McKee wins by about 10. Very hotly contested primary, very unpopular governor, I might add. Still gets victory at about 10%. That's it. In Pennsylvania, Democrats are leading. Democrats have taken the lead in Pennsylvania, but not by that much. Votes in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh are now coming in, and that race is still too close to call. Okay, now we can go on to Arkansas at the 8:30 poll closings. That is safe Republican. And now it's 9 o'clock poll closings. Before that, we can make a few projections in two very crucial states for either party. Let's start with the first one. Maine, the Democrats are projected to be the winner in Maine. This race was Janet Mills versus Paul LePage. Paul LePage being the former governor who retired in 2018. Tried running for another term, was rejected without ranked choice voting even have to happen. Now for the Democrats' other win. This is one of the most competitive races. Pennsylvania, Democrats are projected. Josh Shapiro, the former Attorney General of this race, is defeated Doug Mastriano, a state senator. This race was seen as competitive but slightly Democrat favor, and now we can call it 1 hour after poll closings. So let's go on to the 9 p.m. poll closings now. In the crucial state of Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, Kansas, Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, New Mexico, New York, and South Dakota. Those are also rounded up to about 10 poll closings. So let's start with the Republicans. In a somewhat surprising, but not really, victory, Kim Reynolds defeats her Democratic opponent, winning by about 15, which also helped them telegraphing that overall doesn't matter. Republicans secure Iowa again. Democrats are the projected win. Democrats have not won in a single of these races. Very competitive, I would say. Slew, but Nebraska goes to the Republicans. Let's start with the Democrats are having an astounding lead in Arizona. That is because Arizona likes to count mail-in ballots first. So it's a blue mirage. It could narrow down, could not. We don't know yet. Colorado, Democrats are leading in Colorado. Kansas, Republicans are leading in Kansas. Barely, but Derek Schmidt is winning in Kansas. Michigan, Minnesota, New Mexico are having leads for Democrat, while New York is Republican favorable. Not because we're getting votes from the Republican parts of New York right now. South Dakota, Republicans are the projected winners in South Dakota, while the Democrats are winning in Texas and Florida. Breaking news, IEF Discussion HQ is very irresponsible for getting Florida. Florida was supposed to be called a while ago. It was part of the 8 p.m. poll closing, so should have actually been called. Florida was supposed to be called a while ago. Ron DeSantis defeats Charlie Crist. Nothing really to talk about there. Sorry, Floridians. Sorry. Where was I? Alright, I was on Texas. Well, Wyoming, I also forgot. Goes to the Republicans by 15, while Wisconsin, Republicans are leading. Many votes are coming from the Driftless area, as well as the Wow counties and Milwaukee. So, good news for Ron Johnson, but we'll find out. Anyway, let's go to our 10 o'clock poll closings. But now we have a bunch of races to call. Colorado, New Mexico, Minnesota, and then another race. Michigan governor. Gretchen Whitmer gets elected to a second term against Peter Nixon. The Republican has been scandal-plagued in almost every race. The state Senate and state House have not been called yet because of the amount of swing races. Republicans blew the opportunity in this governor's race by nominating Republican Tudor Nixon, a very controversial abortion extremist, and while also contributing to the fact that the Attorney General's race was very, very scandalous, kind of. Some background on this race. James Craig, the Republican police chief of Detroit, ran. He did not get enough signatures to beat them, so he was not allowed to be on the ballot. And so we only had two candidates. Brian Kelly was the front runner for a while until his Capitol investigations got to him, and then Tudor Dixon. Yeah. So now we have a few more races to call. Texas. Republicans are winning Texas. Only Arizona now is competitive. But Katie Hobbs' lead has diminished, but not that much. We can also call New York to the Democratic Party. Democrats have gotten, Kathy Hochul has not done as well as previous Democrats, but she still wins this seat. Republicans did not really do good in this, what we like to call the Delgado area, where Antonio Delgado, Pat Ryan, Mark Molinaro, they all ran in like this part of the state. Antonio Delgado being on the ticket certainly helped Democrats in this area, but Republicans did pretty well in Long Island and Richmond County, home of Staten Island. Anyway, Republicans are at 23 seats. Wisconsin, the lead has now narrowed. And Kansas, Democrats now take the lead. Tim Michaels, not Don Johnson, that was the wrong race. Never mind, I am irresponsible today. Is narrowly leading. Votes are now coming in from Madison and the surrounding suburbs, but also coming from northern Wisconsin. Oh, and another vote down just came out of Wisconsin, giving the Democrats a slight lead. Anyway, let's go to the 10 o'clock poll closings. We only have one in Nevada, where Republicans have taken the lead, with votes coming out from Clark County. The early vote from Clark County, which another vote down comes out. Only about 30% is in from Clark County, and Steve Sisolak barely leads. If this actually stays true, the Democrats can kiss their hopes in Nevada goodbye. Steve Sisolak, Joe Lombardo race. Joe Lombardo is a very popular, sheriff from Clark County, so he would have appeal to that area. Anyway, it's going to be, and actually now, we do not have to call any races. Because we need to call any races. 11 o'clock. Poll closings. California, Idaho, Oregon. Let's see. And first we can actually update Arizona. It's getting narrower. Republicans in Idaho, Democrats in California, and Republicans are narrowly leading in Oregon. And breaking news, Republicans are now leading in Kansas. Very, very contested race between Laura Kelly and Derek Schmidt, the Attorney General, against a very popular Democrat who did win in 2018 by about 5. With Glenn Orman actually splitting the vote. And Chris Kobach was the nominee. He was not good for Kansas at all. He was flat out rejected in Kansas. He is also the Attorney General nominee for Kansas this time. And Kansas also had the Sam Brown-Brack administration. So let's see what happens next. And 12 o'clock poll closings. Oh, but first we can now call the leading races. These are races between 1 and 5%, and now we can make no calls because the races are lean, yet. Maybe that'll be subject to change. Now for the 12 o'clock poll closings. Hawaii. That's it. And now we can also make Alaska. Ranked choice voting, the Republican here does lead by quite a bit. By about 15. So let's see where ranked choice voting takes us. But now we can call some more races. The least narrow race in this election, I believe, would be the state of Wisconsin. Wisconsin, about 0.5 to the Republicans, carried partly by Ron Johnson and Tony Evers, not as popularness, and also being a Democrat in Wisconsin and not so favorable year for the Democrats. Speaking of that, the House generic ballot is now even, so Democrats have taken a slight lead by the end of the night. We do project that it will be even in the House. But now let's do more tilt races. Also, ranked choice voting is narrowed, and now we can now call the race where Mike Dunn would be incumbent against independent and Democrat. Anyway, let's go on to the next race. Republicans are now projected the winners in Arizona. Carrie Lake beats Katie Hobbs from Carrie Lake had a very contentious primary, came out the victor by only about 4.8%. Had very controversial statements about the election, but enough voters stayed home to give Carrie Lake the victory, and enough voters of the third party, with Barry Hess getting about 5% of the vote, meaning that Arizona is now stays with the Republicans. Ben Ducey was the former governor, so this is not important. But very important to give the Republicans a majority. And speaking of majority, Republicans now have a majority with 27 seats. Now the Republicans just need to win one of these 3 races in order to win the majority of where they were before. So let's start with the next race. I believe the state of Kansas will flip. Flora County, good incumbent, but Jerry Ryan's support and the fact that Derek Schmidt was pretty popular too, and Lori Kelly isn't as popular as other blue states Democrats, I do believe this race will flip. Now for the next 2 races. Oregon, I believe will flip. If you actually want to take a look, Christine Brazin, Tina Kotek, and Betsy Johnson. Betsy Johnson is an independent state senator, I believe. She's a Democrat turned independent, who's very moderate centrist, kind of. She does take support from both parties, but her main base is Portland suburbs, which are very Democratic. So I do believe that, and this was somewhat expected, somewhat not expected, but I do believe that Christine Drazin will narrowly field or flip the race in Oregon, now giving the Republicans 29 seats and a net gain of 1. Now, we have another vote down coming out of Nevada. It looks like the Republicans have now won Washoe County. We can now project Washoe County and the other counties by the Republicans. And now we can also project Clark County to only go for, off by about 8, which now we can project the Republicans are the projected winner in the state of Nevada by a tilt margin. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. See you next time. Bye. But first, let's review the races. Democrats have flipped 2 races in Maryland and Massachusetts. The Republicans. Sorry, so it's my chair. I'll just cheer real quick. Okay, I'm in a new chair now, so hopefully no background distractions. And the Republicans flip the races in Oregon, Nevada, Kansas, and Wisconsin. So, yeah, that's that. The Republicans have net gained a few seats, sending a blow to the Democrats. This is very good night for the Republicans. Didn't win the races. They could have won, but then won races in 2 states that voted Democrats. So overall, good night for the Republicans, and peace out, everybody. I'll see you in the next video. IEF. Bye.